We should at least have like group leaders in here. Well, Corky is not making it. He's gonna be late, so he asked me to record it for him. Go hunt them down if they seem like at least kill squad leaders. It's relayable information, but nothing super complicated here. I always just broke down all those meta shit that was fucking forced down my throat and just kind of simplified it for my team into shit that was actually easy to follow, you know? I think there's a beauty in simple tactics. Yeah. I mean, we'll probably just start going now, and worst case scenario, it's recorded. Yeah, I'll post all the pictures and examples that I use too, so it can always be like referenced and shit. Um, yeah, let's just get it going so we're not here all night. It's 9:05 already. So we're gonna start at like the very basics. Some of this just not in like super good order, cause it's kind of how I thought of it. A lot of it. Um, the overall objective for kill squads. It's not like what it used to be, like when New World was, kind of new and war wasn't as sweated down to a science. Um, and kill squads are actually just about squatting up your homies and like getting the back line with like your light disruptor builds and actually killing. But it's become more of a tug and war for safe space around the point. Um, I'll just read this off to you. The objective of Kill Squad in this current meta is to fight flanks to apply and prevent healer pressure in order to support the main ball fight. This is accomplished in a tug of war battle for space. Space is gained by outpositioning and out pressuring the enemy. Space is not permanently held usually, so it is important to remember what it means to overextend or overstay. And I'll go into more of how to not overextend and overstay and how to make the most out of your life. So that's just our basic overview for what like a kill squad is. Just if you're just sending it to healer road, just bloodthirsting, that's you're objectively kind of wrong here. There's gonna be one, maybe two people in your group that are designated for that kind of behavior, but even they have to be a little more responsible and more aware of when they do that. So now we'll go into the holders versus the senders. So your senders are the people that harass healers, basically. Um, I'll read this off to you guys. Senders are the highest melee spot in the group. That means most forward. Um, they're primarily responsible for applying consistent pressure to enemy light players, be it the healer or outermost DPS. Act as the private or primary target caller. So something to add here, which isn't in this slide, but it's somewhere in the video that I stole this from. Um, your order priority for targets is always going to be front to back, left to right, or outwards inwards. We're trying to snowball towards point, if that makes sense. And then I'll go into that more too in a more clear understanding. And so this says here consistent pressure to the enemies. If you have two senders in a triple disruptor group, yes, you can have one sender, one disruptor consistently pressuring a healer. But if you have only two disruptors and only one sender, one holder, it's a lot of value in helping hold the line, always being aware of what's happening behind you, making sure no one's crossing a line of scrimmage, right? Picture the strong side and the weak side as a line of scrimmage that we're trying to push more towards the healer pocket. Um, so now we'll talk into the other disruptor role, which is holder. Holders are the middle spot, which means right your decks and your healer are right behind your holder, and your senders are in front of your holder. They are a fulcrum point for the group. They're a safe spot for the group. They flex between helping the senders, and they flex between peeling for the healers. Anyone in your group should be able to identify like, oh shit, Skunk's the holder. That's Skunk. I know that's a good spot to be. I'm in trouble. Just go to Skunk, right? Um, I'm going to read it off here as they say it now. Holders are the middle melee spot in the group. They are primarily responsible for being the checkpoint for friendly space and flex between senders, targets, peeling for the healer, act as space caller, give and take. Yeah, so another thing I missed is the holder is typically the primary shot caller for the group. In some metas, holders aren't called holders, they're called main callers, but that's just a holder, just in a different word. See if there's anything they kind of missed on these very brief explanations of what senders and holders are. Yeah, they don't really say anything else, but just remember, like, a holder is literally holding the line. Think of this as like if this was a football team, your holders are your like defensive line, and your senders are more like your wide receivers. Okay. Um, this is an example of my script that my kill squad followed. Same thing, just kind of simplified. We eventually went to having 2 decks when we moved to group 9 and 10. So same principle applies, right? Default formation, senders play just in front of the holder and can fight with the holder and push the backline once we get a kill. So our script involved picking off a disruptor, or at least waiting for a good opportunity to go to the healer. We never just blindly ran at the healer. Uh, the disruptors we were facing were normally like EBK, Marcellus, Misieo, Tot the Op, and Frank the Op. They're not letting you just walk to their healer. You know what I mean? Um, so we'll go to that. Here's an example of us in a game. So you can see here, sender, holder, and our deck's healer pocket. 2 disruptors are pushing. Thank God I'm constantly looking behind me and I see this. I'll go over and I'll actually clear this back. I end up killing a bunch of decks trying to wrap and push the disruptors back towards their side. Literally walk them back like dogs. So just be aware, if you are a sender, yeah, you're the wide receiver, and yeah, you're responsible for targeting healers and dex players, but also be responsible as a disruptor. It's your due diligence to hold the fucking line. That's the main thing here. Um, so this is some stuff for the last war we're gonna talk about later. We'll go into the IO. I already have it up here. So we're gonna go and look at some last point situations and just clear up some confusion on like strong side and bonfire and what if that matters, like when are we playing what where and like what's considered true default and how we can match other companies. um, when we do B is almost never going to be the last point. When we do this, it's more just practice to get in positions and go through the motions to get us to the just ready for that side point C fight, which gets a little more complicated, but we'll go over it. It's literally not hard at all, right? Just if you look at it, there's just one group is different. So on B, this is our line of scrimmage here. The white lines, the greens are healer pockets. The red is bonfire. Note that on C, the bonfire is on the right. On A and B, the bonfire is on the left. But strong side is always going to be on the left, facing the point that you're attacking. This is an example of Morningdale. Sometimes people flip strong and weak side on Morningdale, and I think that it's pretty silly. Is this edit? Yeah, this is. So we'll add a group 1 here. So let's say group 1 represents main ball, and we have our weak side right, strong side left standard. If we were to swap this and put 3 groups right here, they would be so funneled by the river on MD, it doesn't make any sense. So a better alternative would be having 5 play wide and act as a kill squad, but not wrapping deep. Let 8 and 7 wrap deep. Just play your default lanes. 8 play a little wider than usual because you'll have 5 holding inner lane. And have 9 and 10 just literally hold ramparts here because that's where all the respawners are going to be funneling to. If there's an X, that's your final destination. Something I didn't put on this, but I'll show it on the next, is when you wrap and how you wrap is really important. So when you wrap to road, you're looking for 1 or 2 quick kills. Even if you're just disrupting the healer pocket, it's fine. If there's a crash going on, try to get some CC out on these healers and then run towards the back of the crash. So it's a constant rinse and repeat of, okay, you're winning, good. Wrap, disrupt, collapse, reset. So you're never giving up this line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? You're never overstaying anywhere where there could be respawns except for 9 and 10 on A because this is just a bleak point. but this is just an example, right? 7's also on most maps in a bleak spot, weak side. That's why this is almost like a disruptor heavy group with like 3, maybe 4 disruptors sometimes, and all heavy, and they'll have a fire staff with a finisher or an abyss for escaping in this group, because this is a 7's a real, it's a solo group, you know. When we do get to wide point or side point C, which will be most maps, everything but Reek Water MD. Since 7 is playing Ramparts here, this is the only time 7 is playing Ramparts, by the way. 7 is always weak side. 6 just comes out and covers the gap between lower Ramparts and Bonfire. And we hold the line, strong side, weak side, healer pockets, and that's all our default clash situation. Now these might also not be in order. Okay, this is just an example of our recent tactic for practice of just basically egoing B, just to practice formation and positioning and macro play between the army. Just in case there's any confusion there. This is our strong C, which is a very common, I would say, attack. We did it for every attack for months straight. Other companies do this one. It's very, very common, but I like it a lot because the strong side is together and the strong side's in the same place for the whole war. So it's good for building strong side synergy. You have a little bit of a point group. You have like a mini war here, while B has quads, A has group 7 and maybe some quad DPS here. And the idea here is because we're overpowering C with a point group strong side setup, that we're going to probably dominate this, and they're going to have to overinvest into this, which happens 9 out of 10 times, and we get A, B quickly, and then it quickly becomes that C side point fight. So that's the start for that one. Show you guys the 45 man B again. Very simple, right? 7's not here, so 6 you're just playing a little bit wide. So now we're talking about wrapping here. This is the ebb and flow, and this is like the win condition for wrapping. And a really good example was that last war when Group 10 came back from C, and what happened is this, right? So let's say Group 9 or Group 8 and 9 are kind of having a stalemate, right? Group 10 is winning slightly, or even before this, right? Let me back it up here. So Group 8 and 9, you're playing your lane standard, right? When we're attacking, Group 10, your job here is to apply as much wide pressure as possible. Go as wide as you possibly can, trying to threaten this swing. They will literally have their 10 is conditioned to do the exact opposite and to match you. Their shot caller will literally tell them, I don't care if they go around fort, you go around fort with them. I don't agree with that, but people literally say this. So your job here, Group 10 on attack, is going to be to threaten that wide swing. Always looking just to get wide and get forward, wide and get forward, wide and get forward. Let's say 8 and 9 are having a stalemate and the line of scrimmage isn't moving too much. It's kind of a ebb and flow, not really moving back or forward, and that's fine. Let's say Group 10 is winning, or Group 10 is maybe uncontested because Group 10 is coming from an off point. Group 10's first thing they're doing is their disruptors are wrapping to their backline of 9, find their 9 healer, or maybe it's the 10 healer, but they're just not matching properly. Find the healers in the backline of strong side and start ripping them. That's what this arrow indicates, is the disruptor swing. And then start looking inward your decks to 9. So as we win, we're cascading towards point. So basically what we're doing is, as we're taking space, imagine, so this is our line of scrimmage here. As we take space, this should always be bolted, or whatever you want to say. Thank you, Tim. No, you're good. So, shit, what was I saying? Shit. Oh yeah, so basically, yeah. So our objective here is that if 10 is winning, you're helping 9 win, and then 9 is helping 8 win, and we're cascading closer towards point. As the strong side is winning, your line of scrimmage is bolted to B, right? So you should all be kind of holding a line together. Strong side synergy is huge, right? Be aware of what's happening with 9 and 10. It's advised and normally taught to never look outwards and to only ever look inwards. And I think there's some examples that we can talk about. Just basically one, where let's say they're doing that. I don't give a fuck how far they go. You match bullshit, right? So let's say Group 10 is going really wide, and let's say we're defending here. If Group 10 is going this far wide and they're like on C, and C's fine, like you have a team here at C or whatever that's dictated to it, like the 1-2 or whatever. Instead of just LARPing over here, looking in and just diffing 9 and helping 9 get a pick real quick, and then going back and catching 10 on their wrap is honestly a good idea. Sometimes they go so wide on attack Group 10, they take themselves out the fight. Don't ever go that wide, you know what I mean? Stay relevant to the fight, but try to pressure that wide pinch, okay? And I will see here, when we get to road, I'll put the line of scrimmage back. If we push the line of scrimmage to road, this is fucking beautiful, because what this means is their healer pocket is going to get funneled between 7 and strong side. So this is weak side's line of scrimmage, right? Line of scrimmage, it's typically not advised to make it to road and just to kind of hold the cubby between road and ramparts, but I have no problem with you guys um, making it to road and just fucking up these guys. I have no problem with that at all. But make sure we're following this same principle here with the strong side kill squads. We're making it to the healer pocket. We're disrupting. We're getting a quick kill. We're listening. We hear a crash call. We're collapsing on point, helping body block, and we're going right back to default line of scrimmage. And it's going to be like a rinse and repeat scenario. If you stay here too long, they respawn by the waves, and they're just going to come here and kill you. You're overextending and overstaying. Like that one picture that I screenshotted from another video talking about kill squads mentioned, that's an overstay. You don't want to stay here. Collapse to point where you're useful, right? We want to center all this snowball and all this momentum to point. So get to your healer pocket, collapse point on the next crash, back to default. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anyone have any questions when it comes to like wrapping or like anything at all? If you want to make some like add-ons to this to help, I just threw this together as like a quick briefing, like, you know what I mean, not super invested, just try to make it simple to understand. But this is the ebb and flow and the meta of your strong side. And if you saw what Group 10 did, they came from C. Our 9 was already pushed up, our 8 was already pushed up, our 10 was here. Their 9 was still here fighting our 10. Diffed, wrapped, and once you get that full wrap, it's pretty hard to come back. So everyone does this, by the way. So this is like you can literally watch for it, and you'll get better at matching the more you understand this. This is very like you have to do this. Everyone does it. Cool. Hold on, let me pull up your thing for Corky. I gotta record. Yeah, I have a good picture for that somewhere that shows it like in game from that Naomi video. Yeah, do like a little line of scrimmage. It's called midpoint too in some videos you might watch. Midpoint, we're just saying line of scrimmage or 50-yard point. Line of scrimmage is also can move, right? Depending on who has more control of the territory or not. So, right. You guys are wrapping inwards towards point. Don't just go right to road. Wrap inwards. Make sure we're winning the whole strong side because it'll snowball. You want to get that snowball going. Once that snowball happens, it's so easy for our whole strong side to just collapse on road. Then it's GG. Yeah, the most important thing is matching and just fighting your lane and doing your best to just hold your lane and try to win your lane. If you start losing ground, that's fine. We'll go over that later. Right. Yeah. So it's a snowball effect, strong side. No, you're good, Puff. I recorded it and I'll post it for anyone who missed it who wants to see it. But yeah, just make sure we're snowballing and helping the other groups and trying to get that cascade effect so you can all collapse on road. Don't just have group eight's winning, group eight go to road or whatever, because then when that 10 comes in, because we weren't accounting for them because they were on C, now they get the free wrap and then they snowball nine and then they snowball eight and then all of a sudden strong side is just a sea of red, you know. So that snowball factor is really what we want to play around. Yup. Draw like a line of scrimmage on like a little bit of an angle now because they're gaining space. You see, it's important to move like that because, like I said, that line of scrimmage should be anchored to point, and you guys should be rotating around point because remember, lanes are circular, so you guys are wrapping that circle together, right? Ah, it's perfect for this, dude. Send it, send it, love it. Especially 9 and 10. You guys have two decks or two range DPS in general for this reason, and then another reason is you guys play wall and fort, but. Yeah. And remember, we don't live there in their road. We collapse back to point, and then we get right back in the 50-yard line and get ready for match. Because if you die to respawns, what happens is you're gonna now be a minute without your group, and their group is gonna have free reign, right? So don't die to respawns, because you just missed that respawn wave. So it's very bad to overstay and die. Literally just go straight down road and help body block the next crash call. If like it's taking too long to get a kill, if it's been more than 5 seconds no kill, next crash call, help back it up and get back in lane. You know what I mean? Only senders though. Holders, you have to hold the line. That's your job. So senders are going at this moment. Holders have to hold that line or they're gonna wrap for free. So this is where it goes into different disruptor jobs, right? So senders, you're going for a disruption here. Holders and decks, you're just holding that line. I'm gonna go to the next slide here. We're 32 minutes in for overstaying. Yeah. Might as well explain. I didn't really go on quad DPS in here, but I probably should have. All right, so I'll go back to the other thing. I was streaming your stream, Go, so they didn't even have to swap. This is just another this slide's just another example of taking space and how we're rotating together and how we're keeping that line of scrimmage. This is a scenario that we got into on MD, so I just want to talk about it real quick. We had 9 and 10 playing A, and we had the rest of our army B, and C is the free point on MD, or Reekwater, sorry. This was Reekwater. And A is the free point on Reekwater. We didn't really have our groups understanding where to go, and this was still when there was confusion on the bonfire strong side situation. But if we ever get in that situation, we're 9 and 10, because sometimes they will be playing off points, right? This is the similar situation, right? Group 3 and 4, this is just showing main ball, the top of the quads. Group 5, inner lane. Group 9, outer lane. We don't have a wide fight here because we just don't have the numbers there over at A. Group 6, you're playing wide. Group 7, you shouldn't be ramparts here. Group 7 was ramparts during this war, but the rest of our army was like getting farmed over here. So you're so far out, it was like it wasn't impactful. So the only time 7 is playing ramparts is side point. Remember that, guys. Side point, 7 ramparts. Otherwise, stick to your strong side or your weak side. Back. What's this one? Now, this isn't like I was talking about before. We're talking about sometimes you'll be losing, and that's fine, and we're going to give space. So we give space in the same manner that we take it, just in reverse, right? Keeping the line of scrimmage anchored to point, and we're moving back together. This is going to shrink our healer pocket, which is going to make them more vulnerable. But just know, as you guys wrap closer to the healer pocket, the more protected you are also. The healers are probably going to notice a wall closing in on them and know, like, oh shit, maybe I should send a heal that way here and there. So always just wrap backwards towards the healers if you're losing. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone loses. Something else I was going to say here. Don't remember. So we understand like giving, taking space, how to wrap without overstaying. We understand the jobs of holder, sender. We understand 10's job is to draw the fight as wide as possible to threaten this swing to start that cascade effect that will eventually consume point. So now we're going to transition. There's only about 10 minutes left here, guys. I should have probably had this open. We're going to go. I always use this video as an example because we were just playing so clean. This was my maybe second game as a sender, and Saucy's first game as holder, so I was still kind of in the holder mindset. But I want you guys to really take this in here, just this first fight. Keep in mind, enemy group 9 is EBK, Marcellus, Miss Yayo, and enemy group 10, which is our oppo lane, is Frank and Tot, opposition's best kill squad. This is top 3 kill squads on Pangea going at it here. So we're always talking to each other. I'll turn it up here. I'm a sender, but what's the first thing I did there? The first thing I did there was I taught the other sender off of me. I made space to make this send possible, right? I didn't just walk past him. He's not going to let me walk past him. I have to let him know I'm here to fuck. And fuck I do, right? So let's keep watching. I'm looking back. Thank God. I was talking about this before, right? How we always want to be aware of what's going on with the strong sideline of scrimmage. Because if I didn't catch this earlier, oh fucking boy. I don't know where they wrapped. I think they wrapped from like weak side or whatever. This was right when the match started. But I caught it super fast. They killed one of our decks. But I'm a distro, and these decks are not going to match me. Bully me is my oppo healer. I was terrible with my jabs this war. It's fine. Doesn't matter. The disruptors are pushing. Frank is their holder. I'm walking Frank right back to his line of scrimmage, or he's going to die for it. Send again and you're dead. He has to walk past. They call bully, and because I'm sender and I'm the most forward in the group, I was able to collapse here. Look at the body block. Insta kill. Look at Frank. Dead. EBK, one of the best disruptors in New World, right? What it comes down to is group play, guys. Individual skill or your build is secondary to group play. Group play is always going to be number one. Something else to note here is Tot and Frank are running hard meta disruptor, just meta disruptor builds, right? SNS, Spear, Scorpion, one with Venom, Heavy. They're just full meta humping. Saucy's an SNS Greatsword, and I'm a Spear Hatchet. So even though we're playing less meta builds, we're still within the realm of meta, and that doesn't come into play. It comes at group play is what's most important. So I get picked here. There's one example, another one I want to show you guys real quick here. So we're taking back C here. We get called to C, we get B on the side point. So now we're all 50. We're getting ready for that 50v50 C, right? This is how it's mostly going to hang out. That right there was Tot. That's my oppo. That's my opposing group's sender. That's my mirror. I know he's dead, right? So I know I can play pretty aggressive here. There's their healer. Dead too. Free. This is where we're talking about strong side synergy here. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I literally jabbed this guy out of. He's a healer, Holy Priest. Or no, I'm sorry. He's a Dex. I jabbed him out of his group to separate him from the pack. He burned 2 staminas to get back in the pack. And Chris the Rogue, another Scorpion player, or maybe it was LeBurb. I know he's another Scorpion player. Jabbed him again. So this guy got double jabbed into certain death. Look for these opportunities. Look at this. This is just a free +1. Whoever got this second jab was really well played on their part. So we're establishing our line of scrimmage here on strong side, right? This might be too loud. We're as wide as humanly possible. Any wider, we fall off a cliff, right? Notice how I'm always looking behind me, just real quick. Look down too, guys. You get better angle. There's the healer that I should be sending on. It looks free, I thought. Wasn't. My bad. My Dex is complaining about people wrapping 9. Walking between the lanes, so I gotta clear it up real quick. I'm sending on the healer. This is my primary job. Team is complaining about something, so I come back. I'm just checking it out, right? I loop around. I just check it out. No big deal. All I did was waste a couple seconds. Not a big deal. We're not stat padding the meters here the whole time. So I just really want you guys to be aware of how these kill squads operate with the senders, the holders, and the spatial awareness. And notice how this is just a C over here. Right now, the line of scrimmage is like in our favor, right? Because 10's winning. We start going towards 9. Now we're pushing 9 because 10's won, right? 9 is over here in 10's lane. They're wrong for that. Happens. So, I mean, that should make a pretty good example here. Just be aware of the space that you're fighting for because that's the main job of kill squads nowadays. Even if you're a sender, don't just mindlessly send. Be aware of your surroundings. Help your holder. Sometimes it's better to collapse. Find that back. I don't know if you saw me in the beginning, but I know a lot of disruptors are afraid to hit other disruptors. But these disruptors bleed just the same as anyone else does. Where was Frank? Just look at the damage he takes, right? Don't be afraid to hit disruptors. Fight for your space. I know it's better fucking dopamine hitting lights, but fight for space. Play with your groups. Play 8, 9, and 10 synergy. And just be aware of everything, you know what I mean? Because strong side is a full unit. In our early progression of Legion, and I know Ghost probably remembers this. You can go ahead and close this now. I know Ghost probably remembers this, but there was a time where we used to have the whole strong side in one comm because we were new to war and just figured it out. You know what I mean? So we were kind of Zergy and just kind of communicating with each other like we were instead of group comms, it was 15 of us in a comm. Um, so that's about it as far as gameplay and scenarios. And I'll post this guy so everyone can look at it whenever they want. Um, I want to talk about builds real quick and meta builds. Heavy's almost always better than medium, except for like hatchet builds who rely on raw DPS to disrupt. Um, the meta for 10 is SNS Greatsword heavy with a Scorp Spear heavy or a Scorp SNS heavy. These are both 9 and 10 are always two ranged groups because you need that ability to look inward. And also when we get to fort, 10 is here and 9 is here playing these walls. Your disruptors are holding the stairs, and your decks or light DPS or range DPS, whatever we want to call them, are just looking inward, hitting what they can hit, right? While your disruptors hold that. So, what else? Dex meta. I don't think we have anyone really playing a full meta Dex build. It's Boltcaster with either a hatchet or a rapier to escape with 420 Dex ish. It's 200 con rest index with featherweight and 2 frigid. And literally all they do is with the Boltcaster is auto lock light attacks. It's free. It's so overpowered. It's meta because it's easy. It's not meta because it's the best players in the game are doing it. They're literally just auto attack, light attacking, and triple shotting with Boltcaster, just hitting who their disruptors hit. Make sure our decks are hitting who their disruptors hit. The only reason, literally just toggle like on them. Uh, make sure you're hitting who your disruptors are hitting. Otherwise, there wouldn't really be that much point of running decks, right? I mean, on the wall, I guess, but we don't run 4 disruptors isn't ever meta because they would just body block each other and it would be hard to get kills. So your range DPS is what's securing your kills more times than not. Your disruptors are starting them, getting them real low, and then they start to run, and your dex picks them off. Um, Healers, same thing as Dex, you know what I mean? Featherweight to Frigid, Rapier or Hatchet as your off weapon. Um, I mean, that's about it as far as mana builds. And obviously, the best Disruptor build for Holder or Sender is SNS Spear Heavy. Everyone knows that by this point, I imagine. Um, so that's about it. I think I covered everything. I want to keep it under an hour. We're pushing 47 minutes here. Um, So I'll let you guys ask any questions about anything, whether it pertained to what we just went over, or if it didn't, maybe it's something I half went over you want to know more about, or something you've been wondering. If anyone has any questions, now's a good time to ask because we need to be on the same page. Because us being not is fucking us. We have good groups. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I was thinking about that a couple days ago, but forgot to make a slide about it. So let's say main ball. So here, let's do a scenario where we go to this. Let's say we'll bring this in and we'll bring 7 back home. Let's say that 8, 9, and 10 strong side, really not much is going. Let's say 7's winning. We'll put 7 here at their winning destination, right? Closing in on that road. Always closing those walls in on that road, clumping those healers up. Um, let's say 7's winning, points dying, right? Dead, 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 dead. Point starts falling back. What happens here now, guys, is this is the one time you break that rule where you're not following the circle. Try to go out and wide, and you're gonna have to reset here. If you're hard winning your fight, it's not a bad idea either. Oh, what the fuck? it's not a bad idea either to draw them out. Keep drawing them out. Because maybe what you're doing here, and this is kind of why there's a strong side in the first place, is to draw main ball people away from point. So that's why there's such a wide strong side. Because it could have evolved into a 2-2 meta where we played 2 kill squads on each side, but this was what came of it. Just to threaten that wide point or that wide fight to take people off point. So be aware of if points losing, you may have to fuck off, right? Because if you're say you're all winning and points losing, they just close this and you're dead. They just literally beeline here and you're cut off. So be aware of point. If right now we're in a meta where the outside fight, I'm talking kill squads and quad DPS, and the inside fight, I'm talking main ball, like point fighters, have about an equal 50-50 say of who wins the war. It's a balanced meta as far as if kill squads or if main ball have more influence in who wins the war. So, but it's more about how we play it, right? So what I would do was say we're hard winning, I would try to hold this ground a little bit. Let's just go a little bit wider, and maybe we'll draw somebody off point. And now when our main ball resets, our main ball should be at a 1 group advantage. And it'll stabilize, it'll go back to normal, and we just keep going and doing our thing. Oh, we wipe 10, we look in, and then we wipe 9, and then 9 and 10 looks into 8, and then 8, 9, and 10 look into road, and then we all look into point together. Fuck. Then we all look into point together, and then we rinse and repeat, and we go back to strong side to hold that initial line of scrimmage. And I'll post that VOD too. I'll post a VOD of us losing lane too, like when we lost to EBK versus Musket Union. I'll post that one too, just to give you guys some examples more. But yeah, just if points getting obliterated, which happens sometimes, Kill Squad's been catching flack, but our fucking crash rate is horrendous on point. So that's another band-aid, you know what I mean? But yeah, if point is losing, which is totally possible, sometimes point wins, sometimes kill squads win, sometimes both win, you know what I mean? That's ideal. But just make the most of it. If you have to retreat for the reset, retreat for the reset, right? You'll find in my VODs plenty of times I retreat for the reset and then we walk up as strong side together. Yeah, yeah. That means we probably had a couple bad crashes and we're just rinsed on point. So play your life, play wide, don't die. Right, I wouldn't even gone towards point. If point just got rinsed off point, I would not recommend stepping as a kill squad because you're putting yourself in a situation where you can get rinsed. So retreat wide, or pull wide if you're winning your lanes hard enough where you guys think that you can solidify some area over here. And then the moment that it starts to reset, you guys have to go back to holding this line of scrimmage. You can't let people past you. The moment we let disruptors go past us, it's just like, why even have kill squads then? We might as well just send them all to their road. Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, there's no saving it, but this is what you can do to make the most of the situation. Just play a little wide. Try to pull them off point. Try to pull their main ball wide. Retreat back if you have to. But as soon as it becomes we get our respawn and it's looking like it's at least 40 versus 40, we have to get back to default and hold the line of scrimmage. Think of kill squads as defensive linemen, like the holders, and the senders are the wide receivers. But once say like 9 wins and is diffing 9, once 10 doesn't have any fucking opposing group, you're all wide receivers now, right? Decks can just stand still and just literally just look. You know what I mean? They don't even have to wrap. They just look in, and then you guys all just look in. Collapse point, rinse and repeat. Um, why did that? So this kind of happened in the. Go ahead. So if it's super fucked, there's really no saving it. If they're already in our road, it's probably best to just have your holder hold the line while your holder and Dex hold the line while your sender goes and disrupts. Um, be more aggressive here, I would say, because it's already so fucked. Um, what happened last war, and this kind of happened last war, and how they were able to successfully cascade. I posted in Company General, Corky. I don't know if you saw, but their 10 started C, so our 10 came over and was thought their 9 was 10, and 8 and 9 were fighting enemy group 8 and quad DPS and strong side quad DPS. So then 8 and 9 moved in because you guys thought your lane was already won. 10 was still kind of scuffling with 9 out here. Then the actual group 10 came from C because we weren't there, and diffed this fight, came over, diffed you guys, right? And they came over and diffed our road. So they got that waterfall cascade we're talking about. Like that's super default. That's your win condition as strong side is getting that cascade effect. So yeah, we can't see the enemy's roster because we have an active war with them. Or oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Settlers can see the roster, right? Or no? I can't see any rosters because I have fucking console perms, so it doesn't even give me that option anymore. Yeah, we need like purple friends and green friends to do that shit, you know? Yeah, if you have another account, you know what I mean? If you want to do that. There we go. For sure. And you're not always gonna know, right? Like that what happened at that last war is totally understandable. Because what 10 said or what 9 said was they were pulling up and they said, "Oh no, that's 10's group." But that was actually 9's group because 10 was here, and I totally get why they thought that. Because it looked like there was 3 groups, but it was only 13 people. So it was 2 groups and quad DPS. So it totally made sense why that happened. Yeah, their 9 group was super wide. Yeah. Another thing I was gonna note was like I already talked like our 10 needs to also constantly be pressuring as wide as possible to pull that wide pressure for the wide swing. 9 could have played a little wider, and again, you guys were eager to go into road. Make sure at least your holders are staying back, and make sure we're snowballing the success to other groups, and we're never forgetting about line of scrimmage and strong side. Should always look inward. Yeah. So like it's like so assuming you're getting wrapped, 10 is probably gone. 9 is probably in shambles. So we already went over this, just you and I, Corky, but about how we give up space. Just keep rotating with that line of scrimmage now. Rotate that line of scrimmage closer to the healers. Play in the healer pocket. Just protect them. They're going to see you. We have to hold this because once we give this up, it's GG. The only thing we can do at this point, the only thing we can do at this point is swap roads and hope for the best. And have our healers stand in their road because there's so many enemies in our road. It's safer for them to stand in the enemy road. Is the only really answer to that. But we want to avoid that, right? That's when it's already fucked. What am I doing here? I'm drawing on shit. But yeah, I recorded too, Corky, for you if you want to rewatch it. Anyone else have any more questions? Regardless of relevance, probably have another 5 more minutes here. Probably, but I'm gonna post it up on YouTube and send a link to you guys in company chat. You're welcome. Okay, so do we feel like this clarifies and kind of unifies us so that we're on the same page of our jobs of our kill squads and the roles of our senders and our holders and all that shit? Do we feel like we're more unified and better understanding of overstaying and how to wrap and how to hold and then how to give pressure, how to take space, how to give it? Does it kind of make more sense now for everybody? Yeah. Yep. So this is giving space example. Um, just move that line of scrimmage closer to the healer. Try to not give up this healer pocket though, because that's Jeej. You know what I mean? The purpose is to either hold our healer pocket or fuck their healer pocket. But we have to work as a team to achieve this. We're not like, okay, our lane's won, boom, boom, and then we get swarmed on strong side, swarmed on road, right? We want to avoid that. We want to play as neat and like clean and defaulty as possible and try to practice that and just try to fight the opposing groups because I swear our groups can match 9 out of 10 kill squads on Pangea. We have good kill squads. We just got to get more synced and just more informed on what the modern day kill squad is in this meta. But yeah, because it is kind of lame now. It really just has evolved into a bunch of heavy SNS spear Spartans holding a line. But unless there's some kind of gentleman's handshake agreement that us as New World players will go back to the old days of having 2 or 3 kill squads and like 40-man main balls, and the kill squads just kind of were quad DPS, you know? Quad DPS are what kill squads used to be, really. They just kind of go around looking for diffing and kills. But yeah, this is what War's evolved into. This is quad DPS format. Quad DPS format has a strong side and a weak side. Everyone does this, and we have to match, or we're gonna get swarmed. Because this is just the best way. It's already solved. Way before I solved it, it was already solved. You know what I mean? I had tons of people barking at me before I started really uh, understanding it or whatever. I was just kind of regurgitating shit I didn't understand, but I have a really good understanding of how to make a difference in a kill squad nowadays. I would like to think if I rallied the kill squad back together, we could at least go even with any kill squad on Pangea. Even right now with F-ballers and Mute here, we could at least hold it, you know what I mean? We might not wrap, but we will at least hold it, you know what I mean? And if you hold it, you did your job. You don't need to do anything more than that. If you held it, you did it. It's on main ball at that point. They have to do their job now. Um, so yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Oh, sorry. If you have one more, we'll keep going. Okay. So I can bring back up the. You know what? I'm gonna go into DMs with Corky. So I was helping Corky before. I was like, you know what? Let me just do a full company Why, John? Where am I going? I swear I did this recently. Maybe I posted it in Group 8, actually. Well, maybe it's in Group 8's chat. Check. Yeah, so right here. So me and Corky have already talked about a lot of this stuff. So here's your sender, your holder, your 2 light DPS, and your healer, right? So this is going to be like a 9 and 10 situation. So they have it, there's sender, I'm sorry, their holder and their light are focus firing a disruptor to get a pick and then going on the offensive. I would recommend as a holder, try not to go too offensive. Remember to flex between your sender and your range players. Never really commit to your senders. It's not your job to do that. Um, and then so this is the script that my group used. Let me see, it's in here too. Already showed it, but it's very simplified for just any kill squad can apply this script and just be successful in winning their lane, or at least being competitive in their lane, right? So if it's, say you're group 9 or 10, just have one less sender and one more light DPS, right? Default formation, senders play in front of the holder who can fight with holder and push to backline once we get a kill. So we always try to secure a pick on the disruptor, like in that previous picture I showed you, which I didn't make, I stole that. Um, but sometimes, like you saw in the VOD example, where we didn't get a pick, right? Tot was the enemy sender, and I clashed with him, and I backed him up. His healer rolled, and I jabbed his healer out the roll. So you can look for opportunities to send, right? You don't have to necessarily get a pick to send, but it's a good idea too, unless you have a good opening, right? It takes a little getting used to. Healer and light DPS stay close enough to help each other and support the holder who is supporting the senders. So it's a chain reaction of you guys supporting each other, working front to back. Just supporting this guy, supporting this guy. Oh, this guy's supporting him, I'm supporting him, if that makes sense. So your holder is your midpoint, right? I'm going to say this, kill squad players. If you're more than 20 meters away from your holder, you're in the wrong spot. Stay tight. Your holder is the one who dictates your space taking and space giving and where you're positioning. So stay tight. Trust your holder. Holder's a big responsibility. There's only one per kill squad. Typically the main caller, group leader, but not always. Yeah, just make sure you're playing super, like I said, your defensive liner if you're holding. You're holding that line. Think of it like that. All right, last licks. If we have one more question, we'll do it. If not, we're going on an hour and 5 minutes. So you got to play safe. You're +1, right? It depends, right? So if we saw, like, if a disruptor's down, I would probably look to give up some space there. Yeah, it's a safer bet. If you saw on that example video I posted, you've seen the VOD before of us, my group versus Oppo. Um, what was I gonna say? Our one of our decks was Asterix. Our fifth slot was a rotating revolving door, so we can like teach people and get them up to speed. And Asterix just literally got picked right away. They had like 2 or 3 of their Dex players wrapped on us. Um, and he just died immediately. I just went back and killed both their Dex in like 2 seconds. So if a Dex is dead, it's not the end of the world. If a healer is or disruptor is dead, I would give up space, especially in 9 and 10. In 8 and 7, because you have 3 disruptors or should have 3 disruptors, you have more leeway when it comes to, oh, there's a sender down. He's not your only sender. You know what I mean? You have another one. You still have 2 melee that can kind of hold the line. All right. Well, I hope this helped. I hope we get back into having some nice, fun, competitive banger wars. You know what I mean? Um, I know our groups have a lot of potential, and we just got to get everybody synergized and on the same page. And that was kind of my goal here. So if anything, I hope that was accomplished.